Known to be the Philippines' most popular national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal was just like us. His youth was not much different than those of an ordinary person living in the country. His parents also wanted the best of him. He had his bad times when he was studying in Manila. He also shared a number of great memories when he was with his family, especially his siblings. The story of Rizal started in the town of Calamba, Laguna. On the day of June 19, 1861, Francisco Rizal and Teodora Alonzo celebrated the arrival of a baby boy, which soon to be one of the most important persons known to man. That man was named as Jose Protasio Mercado Rizal y Alonzo Rialonda. He was the seventh of 11 siblings in their family, and also only one of the two boys. With such a long name, people these days would often wonder where his names came from. To make it short, Jose came from Saint Joseph, Protasio came from a Christian calendar, Mercado came from Rizal's great-great-grandfather, which means market, Rizal from Rizal, which means to grow further, Alonzo from his mother's old surname, E meaning and Rialonda from his godmother. On June 22, 1861, he was finally baptized at the Catholic of Calamba as Jose Rizal Mercado. Not like his other siblings, Rizal was born sickly and frail. Therefore, being given the best and tenderest care that his family could give, his parents hired the Rizal siblings a maid, which they called Aya. The Aya would often read them stories of urban legends and mythical creatures, scaring them if they do not eat. At a very young age, Rizal grew up as a Catholic. He would take part in family prayers and eventually learned how to read the family Bible in Spanish. Father Leoncio Lopez, the town priest, is one of the men Rizal esteemed and looked up to in Calamba. Even as a child, Rizal already had the talents with the arts, mainly drawing sketches on his sister and brother's books, in which he would be scolded by his mother. Rizal also knew how to carve persons and animals out of wood. Rizal was born a poet, and his mother would eventually encourage Rizal to write his own pieces. Rizal was a special child since he would already be writing at the age where kids would be learning the alphabet. In May 18, 1818, Francisco Engracio Rizal Mercado, offspring of Juan and Cirilo Mercado and father of Jose Rizal, was born. Francisco studied Latin and philosophy at San Jose College in Manila. He then became the lieutenant governor, which was also known as Teniente Gobernadorcillo, in Calamba. Francisco is of Chinese descent, in which his great-grandfather was a Chinese businessman who immigrated to the Philippines and married a Chinese mestiza. The relationship of Rizal with his father was quite touching. Francisco would try his best to give his son the best care as much as possible. He even handpicked Rizal's tutor to teach Spanish and Latin, which was his friend Don Leon Monroy. In 1818, Jose Rizal made a clay bust of his father, and 6 years later would carve a life-size wood sculpture. Carving the life-size statue took Rizal a lot more time, considering his height was below average. Although Rizal's affection for his father were not stated in many of his biographies, it was still evident through his works and life. Even when Jose became a father, with Josephine Bracken, he named his son Francisco in honor of his father. Unfortunately, his son died only 3 hours after birth. Teodora Morales Alonzo Rialonda y Quintos, also known as Lolay, was born on November 9, 1827. She is the second child of Lorenzo Alonso and Brigida de Quintos. She studied in College of Santa Rosa, an esteemed all-girls school in Manila. She was described as an achiever as well as a business minded woman. She never was a vulgar and would always be a prim and proper lady who does not like gossiping. Whenever she was not in school or studying, she would often help her family financially by running a small store in their home, as well as sugar and flour mills. She would sell homemade jams, jellies, sausages, hams, and other products that she could ever think of. Theodora was believed to be from the Lacandula, also known as the last native king of Tondo. Her great-great-grandfather was of Japanese ancestry who married a Filipina. Doña Lolay was said to have suffered the worst pain with Jose Rizal's birth because she had a longer labor time with him. Narcisa, Jose's older sister, also recalled to have witnessed the birth and had said that her mother had a hard time giving birth because Rizal's head was bigger than normal. As Rizal's first teacher, Theodora taught Rizal the Spanish language, started correcting his poems, and teaching him about rhetorics. At the age of 3, Rizal was also being taught by his mother the alphabet as well as Catholic prayers. Theodora also introduced arts and literature to Rizal, which prompted Rizal on writing his own drama and performing it in a local festival when he was only 7 years old, which then garnered him 2 pesos from the municipal captain.
When Rizal was a child, Theodora loved telling stories to her son. One particular book she would read to Rizal was Amigo de los Niños, the children's friend. In one incident, Theodora found out that Rizal drew in some of the pages of the book, and in order for Rizal to realize his mistake, Theodora read him a story from the book, which is the infamous story of the moth. The story was about a little moth who was warned by her mother not to go near the flame of the lamp. But as a young moth, she was curious and pulled by the light of the lamp. Thinking that nothing would happen to her, she flew nearer to the lamp, feeling the warmth of it. Again, she flew nearer and nearer until she perished.
Before Rizal was born, he had 6 older siblings, and after Rizal, his mother gave birth to 4 more. The eldest of them all was Saturnina Rizal, who was born on 1850 and died in 1913, who married Manuel Timoteo Hidalgo of Tanwan, Batangas.
Pasiano Rizal, the only brother of Rizal, was the second child and later became a general of the Philippine Revolution. Narcisa Rizal was the third child of the Rizals, who married Antonio Lopez, a teacher and musician at Morong Rizal. Olympia Rizal, the fourth child who married Silvestre Ubaldo, then died from childbirth in 1887. The fifth child was Lucia Rizal, in which who married Matriano Herbosa. The sixth child, Maria Rizal, who married Daniel Faustino Cruz from Binian, Laguna. Jose Rizal being the seventh, in which he was the second and last son in the Rizal family. Next to him was Concepcion Rizal, the eighth child and the one closest to Jose, wherein when she passed, Rizal experienced his first heartache. Josefa Rizal, who was an epileptic and died a spinster. Trinidad Rizal, the 10th child, who also died a spinster but was the last one to pass away in the family. Soledad Rizal was the youngest in the Rizal family who married Pantaleon Quintero. It was not a secret that Rizal could also write, since his writings were the ones that pushed the Philippines its own independence. Through writing, Rizal expressed all the emotions that he could ever felt, from being a child that was imprisoned in his own country up until he fell in love and stood by to fight for his country from the Spaniards.
Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo are only 2 of his famous writings. Most people that do not know of is that ever since he was a little child, he was already writing, starting with short poems such as Sa Aking Mga Kababata when he was only 8 years old. It talks about loving one's own native language, although there are sources that claim that they have no evidence that it was actually Rizal who wrote it. It was suspected that this particular poem was actually written by Gabriel Beato Francisco or Hermenegildo Cruz. Nonetheless, Rizal still had a lot of poems and works that he wrote when he was a child, mainly when he was studying in Ateneo Municipal in Manila. Just like us, Rizal had a memorable childhood, and it showed how much he grew and learned from the mistakes that he saw and had won. Nonetheless, he still proved that he was worthy of being a national hero, and that we, the Filipino, must give our thanks to him for sacrificing himself for the nation.